I am here today with Genevieve Brill Murphy. She is the owner of the Long Beach Visiting Angels. Welcome to My Company Story.
Thank you, Don. Happy to be here.
Genevieve, tell us a little bit about Visiting Angels, what you do, who your customers are. Tell us a little bit about the company.
Okay. Well, I'll start by telling you that Visiting Angels is part of a franchise network.
Okay.
So it was founded in 1988 by a gentleman in Maryland who was a social worker.
Oh.
And he recognized, probably ahead of his time, the need for this type of service. Because back then, more often than not, they would automatically discharge a patient to a nursing home, especially a senior, whether or not they really needed it, but only because there weren't necessarily any type of home care or equivalents, what we would consider today, anyone to be at home to help. So it was just sort of an automatic second step.
So tell us, what does Visiting Angels do then?
Oh,
Who are
I'm
your
sorry,
customers, and what does that mean?
Yeah, I apologize for that. So Visiting Angels is a senior home care agency. We practice non-medical home care. So what that means really is anyone at home who needs any type of help with a typical daily living activity, whether it be driving or help around the house, doing laundry, making meals, grocery shopping, getting a shower, getting dressed, anything we probably typically
Like a family member, but that comes in, if they don't have a family member to do that for them, they hire you guys to come in and do that for them.
That's right.
And you have the Long Beach franchise?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. So I own the greater Long Beach area. So we have Long Beach, and we have Lakewood, we have Seal Beach and Rossmore, a slice of Huntington Beach, and sort of the surrounding areas there.
Wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How long have you had Visiting Angels then?
For 14 years.
14 years.
Yes.
You've seen a few things then, haven't you?
Yes.
Well, tell us a story, or tell us a case of a customer that you've helped, an example of a typical customer, if there is a typical customer.
Okay, and I would say there probably is not, just
No.
as we're all each unique and our families are, so are our customers.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite customers to date is a couple that we took care of in Lakewood. And I probably shouldn't name names, so I won't. But we started off when this couple, they just need a little extra help, kind of what I just described. They just could no longer drive. That happens very often. People, they can't renew their driver's license, so their family was concerned they needed to get places. And so they weren't nearby. Again, what we see typically is families are more and more geographically dispersed.
Right.
So they needed us to come in and just help with that and things around the house. And it was interesting too, because this particular couple didn't think they needed it, but their children did. And said, Mom and Dad, just give us some peace of mind. We won't bother you as long as you have someone come in like once a week.
Right.
And that's how we started.
Oh.
And so, but sure enough, they started to love it. They're like, this is great. And their kids stopped bothering them.
Oh, so everybody
so
wins then.
This is great.
Yeah.
Yes. So
how long ago was that?
That was roughly 8 years ago.
And are you still working with them?
We're not. That's how the story unfolds. However, we did for 8 years. But gradually their needs increased.
Oh.
And sadly, at one point, the husband passed away.
Oh.
And then the mom was left, and she had dementia, and that progressed too, all the way through full hospice care.
I see.
We started off 1 day a week, but we're with them till the end.
So you were with them till the end, even through hospice care?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And what was so nice about that is we really did become part of the family. And even after the husband died, I mean, we were there for his wife in a way that so few people can be, because we already had that relationship, and she felt supported. And
I'll bet you become part of their families, don't you?
Yeah. And to be honest, even to this day, I keep in touch with the family because we really are.
And Genevieve, what sets apart Visiting Angels from the other competitors that an elderly couple who needs some services like yours could choose? Why choose you guys? What makes you different?
Sure. I would say, I do try to mind my business, and so that's what I focus all my time and energy on, is just making sure we can be the best we can be. And I think that comes through to our customers, and it comes through to our caregivers.
How does that come through to them? What does it look like?
I think it's that extra level of care. We can say we're in the business of caregiving, and that's so important to us, almost like a homework ad. But they feel it because I'm still involved as the owner. I've had a staff that's been with me for a long time, and we put that personal touch on things. But I think just as important, we're extremely loyal to our caregivers and have a great team that knows they're equally as cared for.
That's wonderful.
And just to let you know, I don't just kind of take that for granted. I've actually hired a third-party service to survey both my clients and my caregivers on an ongoing basis, totally separate from us. And I will tell you, I've listened to one of the calls, and they are not looking to make friends.
Right.
So
they want the truth.
They want the truth.
Yeah.
And but it keeps us on our toes, and it keeps our service offering the best it can be.
I'll bet you learn from that too, don't you?
Yes.
And grow and get better from that.
And I will tell you, when we win an award, which we have the last 2 years we've been participating in it feels that
It's rewarding.
It really is.
Like a JD Powers for you guys. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
is.
wonderful.
So,
that's great. Congratulations. tell us a little bit about how did you get into this? I mean, why did you choose a franchise and that particular franchise, and what was your background before that?
Sure. I worked as a strategy consultant coming out of school, and then I went back and got my MBA after working for a procurement outsourcing company that was a startup, so that was a really great experience too. And to be honest, I loved what I was doing. I wasn't necessarily looking for a major change, but I knew I wanted to eventually get into something more philanthropic. And so actually when I was wrapping up my MBA, the last project was to pick any industry, dissect it, soup to nuts, and kind of present on it. And that's when I found non-medical home care.
Oh, you did your MBA program on that? Then?
Yes.
Or
well, that's how I found it. Yes. And then I thought, this sounds like exactly what I would like to do and what I think I'd be the best fit for. And so sure enough, I made some calls, and I did get my MBA in Philadelphia, and that's where Visiting Angels is headquartered. So that popped up everywhere. And so I called, but they said, well, honey, we're sort of pretty well blanketed out here. It was just then that I learned I would be moving to Long Beach. So I said, oh, do you happen to have anything available out there? And I'll never forget the salesperson I was speaking with, who's still with the company, Mary Lou. She kind of exhaled a little bit, and she said, well, if you're serious, let me know, because the owner just passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Of the franchise here in Long Beach.
Yes.
And you were moving to Long Beach.
Yes. And
wow.
She said, so if you're serious, let me know, because I know the family's going to put the business up for sale.
Yeah.
And I say the stars sort of aligned, and
sure did.
Here we are. And I'm still very good friends with Bob's widow to this day.
Now, how did you end up in Long Beach?
So that is kind of ironic, because when I first moved graduated from school, I went to Penn State. I really wanted to move out to California, and so I made that big leap, and I won't bore you with the details of that. However, I loved California. I was in San Francisco. I was still in San Francisco when I joined my next company, but they were headquartered in Philadelphia, so I was traveling back and forth all the time. Wanted to live in New York for a time, so I moved in Philadelphia. But my now husband, when we were dating, had no desire to move at all.
Oh, he didn't? Where did you meet?
He, at the company I worked for.
In New York?
In Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, he had no desire to move. One of the things I loved about him, and still do, is that he's very close with his family, and it's a big part of his life. And he couldn't even think about moving far away.
Right.
But ironically, it was his job.
His job?
That brought us kind of back to California.
Oh, he did. Okay.
So, yes.
Good. So you can blame him for coming out here then.
But that's why I made that phone call. And I didn't even know where Long Beach was. But I just heard that he may have this job opportunity in Long Beach. So when I called, I asked. And so all the more reason why it was just meant to be.
The stars really did line up.
Yeah,
That's great. Now, Jen, tell me a little bit about, you mentioned your husband, and talk about a little bit about your family. Do you have much of a family?
I love my family. I have a big, wonderful family. Yes, we have my husband, Kevin, and I, who I have to say is not only the most supportive, amazing husband and man, but he's an amazing father. And he needs to be, because we have 5 little ones.
5 kids, and the age from what range?
From age 12 down to almost 2.
Almost 2 to 12, my gosh.
Yes.
And you're running a company.
Yes.
And you're running a household. And you're involved in PTA, you told me.
Yes.
And then you also mentioned something about a foundation that you're running. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Thank you. I run a nonprofit called the Bucket List Project Foundation, and we fund and operate a wish fulfillment program for patients aged 18 and older with limited life-limiting illnesses and limited resources. So to wrap that all up, really what people do is they compare us and the work we do to Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh, okay.
But what some don't realize is Make-A-Wish works with those that are critically ill between the ages of 2.5 up to 18. So we sort of pick up where they leave off.
At 18. 18.
And have adults.
Just in the Long Beach area or anywhere?
For now. However, we have a much bigger vision to grow it
as
far and broad as we can. So we started off as a smaller project about 5 years ago under the umbrella of the Memorial Care Foundation, which is the foundation that supports the hospital here in Long Beach. And then we got so much momentum behind us that we actually were able to start our own 501c3.
Fantastic.
3 years ago.
Great, 3 years ago.
So
the Bucket List Foundation was formed. And tell me about, is there an example you can tell me about someone that was helped by the Bucket List and what that looked like?
I will. I can. Yes. We had a patient very early on who was fairly young, so it's heartbreaking. But she wanted to get married, and she was engaged, and she had everything sort of planned. And Hotel Maya, I still forever will be grateful to them, because they sponsored the entire wedding.
Wow, they picked up the tab for her wedding?
Yes, they did.
Amazing.
Which is amazing. And which was made it
shout out to Hotel Maya then.
Absolutely. Which made it even more special to kind of have this year's fundraiser at their location.
Perfect.
It's kind of brought full circle for us.
So that was part of it. So she had a wish to get married, and she did get married then. And I take it she passed away then?
She did, yes.
Yeah. That's got to be awfully tough on you. I don't know how you, it takes a special person to be able to work with a foundation that has those types of customers, and then your customers from Visiting Angels. I mean, it's a real special need, I would think.
Well,
tell me about your employees, that you hire people that are looking for that to get into the healthcare industry and that type. What do you look for in employees?
So for Visiting Angels?
Yes.
Well, ideally certified nursing assistants who have a wide range of experience working with seniors specifically. But we also have a lot of people, particularly women, who've either left their other profession at some point to care for a loved one and have gotten their experience that way. But what's interesting, I ran an analysis not too long ago to see what the average age of our caregiver is, or caregivers, and it's 54. And what's kind of the reason why that's a sweet spot for us is because it's sort of very similar to the age of an adult age child, right? When they're mother or father. So we find this people who can really have a lot to talk about. There's a big companionship component of what we do.
I'll bet.
And how we deliver our services. So
I'll bet. And you must be hiring and looking for people all the time with the growth you've got going on.
Constantly. And the other reason for that is because of the way our services are sort of executed. And that means, customers may say, I would like to have someone from 5 to 9 p.m. on weekdays or whatever it is. There's a range of different schedules that are requested.
Right.
And similarly, our caregivers have a range of availability.
Right.
Some are moms that only want to work while their children are in school and have to be back home after that. Others just want to work overnight. I mean, you have the whole range, but that's why we have to always recruit a lot of good people.
So tell us a little bit about the challenges that you've had to overcome, being a wife, a mother of 5, a PTA leader, running a foundation, running Visiting Angels for 14 years, hiring people all the time. I mean, pick 1 or 5 challenges that you had to overcome, and how you've done that, how you've managed that.
Sure. Well, I will say, I'm somewhat self-aware, and I know I have a lot of energy, and I have to, have a place to kind of focus that, right?
Good.
So in some ways, it's very good, and I'm so blessed to be able to have all these different opportunities, and also I'm checking in on a regular basis and can feel when I'm coming out of balance there. So I really do try to keep my priorities straight. And someone told me once, you may even know what your priorities are, but until you check your calendar and your checkbook, you don't know what they really are.
That's great.
Isn't that
what a great
and
expression.
It's so true.
Yes.
And I just recently looked just for a little health check, and I thought, sure enough.
So check your calendar and your checkbook to see where your priorities are.
Let me say what they are, but let's see.
I love it. That's wonderful. And so you do a reality check every now and then. I check those 2 things.
I
see
do.
How it's looking.
And as silly as it may sound, I check in with my kids too, and I'll point blank ask them.
And they'll tell you the truth?
I tell them, I want to be the best mom I can possibly be. What am I doing right? What could I either take away or add to do a better job? And they'll tell me.
And they'll tell you. I bet they will tell you.
To be honest.
Yeah.
So,
how about your employees? Do they tell you also? Do you ask them?
Yes, but more through the survey, third party, because I want them to feel comfortable answering back.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Good. So. That's great. What other challenges, do you face? How do you balance the work and life and personal life and work life? Do you blend those together? Are they one, or do you separate the 2?
Well, the one nice thing about having this company and running it is that I can flex my time. So there may be days where I have to work from home or around kids' schedules. It's a beautiful thing that so much can be done via the internet and phone these days. So I find it's really what's helped me business be successful, and me to personally have that work-life balance, really, to be able to do things maybe a little not as traditional.
What would life have looked like if you had stayed working for a large company where you'd go to work, have a commute, punch a clock, come home at the end of the day, forget about it? What would life look like then as opposed to now?
Absolutely. Well, and I had a wonderful career before I bought Visiting Angels. Even when I first bought Visiting Angels, I would still travel quite a bit, kind of a consulting type of fashion. I had a big account with Kraft Foods, and when my first daughter was born and when she was little, I couldn't bear to leave her, so I brought her with me everywhere I went. I found a preschool nearby, and I think they just took pity on me and took her, and but I take her everywhere, and I did hit that level though where it was exhausting at some point. I thought, what am I doing? But I did it. I'm proud of the fact that I didn't jeopardize one for the other. But when my my son came along. It got much harder. I couldn't take 2, obviously,
Right.
and I'm still traveling a ton.
You are still traveling?
No, back then
Back
I was,
then you
but
were.
that was the big. And when I got pregnant with my 3rd child, I thought I can't do this anymore, and it wasn't right. So anyway, but I would have loved to have continued on if I could have.
Right.
But even then, too, I think when there's a will, there's a way.
So, but really, what I hear you saying is, though, finding a franchise and getting involved, being your own boss, gave you the flexibility to have a successful 5 kids and a loving husband and a great family life and balance everything like that.
And I can tell you, too, we have a wonderful group of Southern California, in particular, owners from Visiting Angels. It's one of the benefits of being part of a franchise that really works well and works well together is we get along and get together quite often. And my fellow colleague and owner of the Garden Grove office told me once, and I hope she doesn't mind me saying it, but she did say, one of the best things or the biggest gifts of the business was being able to go to all of her kids' soccer games and this and that. And now her kids are off in college and or graduated and getting their first jobs. And, it's nice to be able to see that and kind of project forward how many years. Plus, honestly, I would like to get my kids involved with the business to some degree.
Would you?
Have them do their own thing eventually. But I would like to use it as an opportunity for them to grow or to learn, really, and grow and flex some skills.
How do you envision that
Well,
happening?
my own dad ran his own business, and I thought the best thing ever in the whole world was when I got to intern. And I got to come in, and he's a lobbyist in New Jersey. But he really... Even just filing, as simple as it sounds, I got to learn about legislation and how that all works and how you record it and how he keeps abreast of different things and updates. And it was just such a fascinating world for me. And I love the fact that he brought me into it.
Yeah.
And so I think that, you can learn in many different ways. But I think part of being a role model, and people have told me before, anytime I get that mommy guilt of, if I'm not there as much as I'd like to be in the classroom or this or that, I can role model in other ways for my kids.
You sure can.
And I'm really focused on that. I think it's going to be even better in the next 10 years when they can be more a part of this and really see it and understand it.
Do you see that happening yet? Have you talked about that with your
Yes,
oldest?
actually even more with my younger daughter. She's in 1st grade now, and I feel like I've been doing a fairly good job, but there was an event at Girl Scouts. She's just starting a new Girl Scout troop.
Oh, good.
And I have a wonderful, wonderful friend named Rosette, and she's the daughter the same age, and she's been great about picking up my daughter and taking them over there, and she's the fun mom. And she's
the fun mom.
But she is definitely the fun mom. And she goes on her skateboard with the girls, and they get treats. And anyway, last week I said to Ava, right before our big fundraiser for the bucket list, I was starting to feel a little guilty because I've been so focused on that. So I said, why don't I take an afternoon off and I'll pick you up from school and take you to Girl Scouts? And she said, well, Mommy, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I really want Miss Rosette to take me because she gets us Kinder Eggs.
Oh, ouch.
but I was telling this friend, Rosette, she actually came to our fundraiser.
Yeah.
And afterwards I said, maybe I have to take a step back and reevaluate things and where I'm spending my time. And she said, Genevieve, don't get down on yourself, because just the other day, Ava was at our house and she was drawing a picture of the Bucket List Foundation, like our logo, basically. Yep. And she said, my mommy does this and she helps people. And she looks so proud.
Oh.
And I thought, even if you're lying, thank you for telling me that, because I needed to hear it.
How does that make you feel?
So I thought, okay, it's,
It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. That's great news. That's good. Well, what advice would you have to other business owners, business women that are looking to either change and get into another career, or thinking about starting a business, or maybe in it as much as you are? I mean, what advice would you give to somebody?
I'd say be true to yourself. Really focus on what it is you want, and write your own story. You're going to be the main character. You're going to be the producer. Like, write your own script. See how you want to have it play out, and then make it happen. And I would also say, just be as encouraging that way as possible. Don't let any naysayer get in your way. You can make it happen.
Keep at it.
But I'd also say, just make sure you're true to yourself. Make sure you're doing something based on what you want and what you want to get out of it versus what you think might be.
What you think the world may be expecting of you, or anything else. Just really know what you want. And how does one know what you want? How do you get there?
I think there's just that fire inside of you if you're meant to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think you'd be happy unless you did.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I would say is, out of all my work, especially with the Bucket List Project, I think one of the biggest blessings is realizing that life really is short. And so don't waste any time. Like, go out there, get there. And honestly, I don't really believe in failure unless the only thing I would regret, I think 99% of the things you regret in life are the things you didn't do.
Yes, as opposed to things you did do.
Yes.
Very well said. Yes, that's very true. Yeah, and the bucket list, I'm sure, would really put that front and center for you and for everyone involved in that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Jeremy, this is great. Tell us if someone wants to get a hold of you and ask you questions or find out more about your life or about Visiting Angels, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'd say you can visit our website at visitingangels.com, but you can also reach me directly. Our business phone number is 562-225-8106, and my email address is gbmurphy@visitingangels.com.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being on the program, and look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for listening to My Company Story. We have new episodes coming out every week, so please subscribe if you like this. And if you'd like to hear previous episodes, you can go to mycompanystory.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, if you or someone you know would be interested in coming on the show, please email me at don@burge.com. Thanks for listening.